Sure shot, baby.
So, good day, everyone. We're here for another episode of the DVD show. So, for today, we have one of the best players of the De La Salle Green Archers basketball program, and he used to be a MVP and a champion, and also a Finals MVP for La Salle. And he also had a storied career in the PBA for I think 15 years, and you also won like two mythical five appearances in the span of your whole career. So I'll now welcome to the DVD show Don Allado. Thank you for joining me here on my podcast.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here. So my career was about 16 years. Um, I
16.
won pretty much all the awards except for the Rookie of the Year. wasn't really That wasn't really on my list, but all
Yeah.
the awards I won already in the UAAP Mythical Five, Mythical
Yeah.
10, MVP, Finals MVP, uh, uh, Athlete of the Year.
hmm
So
Yeah, I was able to
yeah,
research it. And of course, I wasn't able to watch you live because I wasn't like born yet that time when I was researching. I was I really felt good that you went to La Salle and you didn't go to any other school. That was a great
wow,
decision.
I feel really old by you saying that. You weren't even born yet. Oh my gosh.
No,
Uh,
at least you won championships for us. That's
yeah.
important.
We've I played 4 years for LaSalle. 3 years in a row I was on the Mythical Five and Mythical 10. So
hmm
yeah.
Yeah,
Then Finals MVP, season MVP,
hmm
back to back, and then championships. Of course,
yeah,
we had a pretty good team. Yeah, we had a
hmm
pretty good team.
yeah. To start things off, I'd want to ask, like, what are you up to now? Like, it's been close to 2 years already in the pandemic, and we've talked already in our previous interview for the Lasallian and also off the record. But what have you been doing now over the past few months, and how has your family been? How have you been?
Um, Well, the best blessing of my life came this year. My daughter was born, so
Congrats.
she's
Yeah.
6 months
Congrats.
old. Thank you. 6 months
hmm
old, and she is a handful. She is the best blessing that I ever got in my life. No
hmm
award in my basketball career amounts to this award that I've been given by God. So, very blessed. That most of my time goes to her,
hmm
if not in San Juan.
hmm
I am running for a councilor seat in the District 2 of San Juan City under the leadership of Mayor Francis Zamora. So Mayor and I have been brothers since 1996. That's where I met him. That's where we
hmm
forged, our bond as brothers. And
hmm
ever since then, he's included me in all of his projects in the city, and I've
hmm
always supported him. It's just two brothers supporting each other throughout life. Um, so I've been very busy in the city of San Juan, especially during the 2 years especially when the pandemic started.
hmm
So uh, I think it 20 started 2020, 2019.
2020, March 2020.
March
Yeah.
2020. So when that hit, it was it, it was a lot of there was a lot of doubt on people's minds because there was so much uncertainty going on. Oh,
hmm
what's going to happen to my job? What's going to happen to
Yeah.
my savings? If I'm
hmm
spending my savings now and then I'm not earning money. So there was a
hmm
lot of worry there in the city of San Juan. The people who are less fortunate, are not able to work. Uh, the Mayor Francis has um, delivered about 17 times where we delivered ayuda, which is the most for
Mm-hmm.
any LGU. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's what we've been focused on, giving help to the less fortunate in the city, the people who really need it, the people who have no jobs. And of course, moving forward, we are trying to create sustainable jobs for them, things that they can do to provide for their family.
Yeah, that's a great initiative that you guys have, and others should also emulate that in the other cities or even other regions here in the Philippines. But then I wanted to ask, aside from helping the less fortunate, which of course a lot of us also learned, or like was magnified here in the pandemic, were there other lessons that you learned about yourself or about your family that you didn't really realize a lot or you took for granted before the pandemic struck?
Um, as a basketball player, a lot of people always come up to me. Um, I mean, they still do in San Juan. A lot of people still come up to me, but what I've learned throughout public service is the sincerity, my sincerity towards people. People are gonna
Mm-hmm.
feel if you're gonna be plastic or not towards them.
Yeah.
They're gonna feel it. Alam nila yun. Di ba?
Mm-hmm.
There's a big difference between just saying hi and saying hi and then striking a conversation with them.
Mm-hmm.
So, kakamustahin mo,
Mm-hmm.
asking, oh, kamusta naman yung family nyo? Yung mga
Mm-hmm.
things like that. Um,
Yeah.
this being in this position to help thousands of families, it has really humbled me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there's this is my act two, so to speak, in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Act one was all about my youthfulness, my God given abilities, to
Mm-hmm.
showcase my skills.
Yeah.
Act two is totally different. I'm a father now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a public servant through the office of
Yeah.
the mayor. So, given this opportunity, it has allowed me to further touch into my sincerity towards the people here in San Juan. It's like again, I said earlier that uh, alam ng mga tao kung plastic ka
Mm-hmm.
or talagang sincere ka, diba?
Uh-uh.
By the way you converse with them.
Yeah.
So that is something that I've learned here in pub in San Juan, and I've been I've become a better person for it. A lot of times, as a player, people come up to me and
Mm-hmm.
I'm always expecting, okay, I'll sign your autograph, I'll take a picture, and
Yeah.
they're the ones who are always coming up to me.
Mm-hmm.
This time now, people are still coming up to me asking for
Oh.
help and
Yeah.
things of that nature. But the other part of this is ako din naman ang lumalapit sa kanila. Lumalapit
Yeah.
ako sa kanila, tinitignan ko kung ano yung tulong na kailangan nila, kung saan sila nagkukulang, kung okay ba
Mm-hmm.
yung pamilya nila, kung okay ba sila
Mm-hmm.
sa mga requirements ng mga anak nila. Yung mga
Mm-hmm.
ganun na bagay. This is all
Yeah.
part of the service, the complete
Yeah.
service that we provide in the city of San Juan under
Yeah.
Mayor Francis Namora.
Mm-hmm. These are really great actions that you have, and I mean, not all athletes are really like this. So it's really great that you develop into a person that has a lot of things but you keep busy even if you're retired already from professional basketball. So that's great that you're able to help people, and of course, since they know you, it's they really do approach you. But then ikaw nga mismo, you're the one who also gives help to them. So that's the really great part of it. But then I also wanted to ask, since you said nga na you're already like this, na very selfless and very humble. Syempre, my guests also, I also asked them like the upbringing and the where you started, like the childhood that you have. So I wanted to ask, like where did you grow up, and where did this passion for basketball and all these other virtues and values that you have been sharing and imparting to the other people, where did this all start?
Okay, so I was born here in Manila. When I was about
Mm-hmm.
8 years old, we went to the States in California. So from about eight until I was about 19 years old, I was there, and I
Mm-hmm.
grew up there, and those were my development, uh, my primary years for development.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my first language, of course, Tagalog. So that's why I'm
Yeah.
able to speak Tagalog. But
Yeah.
yeah, syempre, yung growing up in the States, meron na akong accent ng,
Yeah.
taga California yan, yung accent na yan, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Phil-Am. But
Mm-hmm.
sa totoo lang, I'm not really a Phil-Am. Marunong lang ako mag-English. Sa
Oh.
totoo lang, yeah. Dun sa UAAP, hindi nila ako
Yeah.
classified as a Phil-Am. I
Mm-hmm.
grew up I grew up in my formative years was in the States. Pero hindi
Yeah.
ako Phil-Am. Even in
Mm-hmm.
even in the PBA, hindi ako Phil-Am. I was considered as a local.
Yeah.
So anyways, moving forward, um, as a kid, I would get into trouble. I would do so many things because I was very active. I would try different things, skateboard, bicycle, just hanging around in the neighborhood. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when you hang around in the neighborhood with the wrong people, you get into trouble, right? So
For sure. Yeah.
basketball was a way for me to parang channel my way into a positive direction.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, I was playing in the parks in the States. Yun yung mga kalaban ko talaga, yung uh, mga itim, mga puti,
Mm-hmm.
may mga
Mm-hmm.
Meksikano, mix yan lahat eh.
Yeah.
So, yung iba din naman magagaling ganyan. So, doon ako natuto ng basketball sa States, yung sa mga playground, yung mga ganyan. And then na-enhance ko na lang pagdating ko ng high school doon sa Burbank
Mm-hmm.
High School in
Mm-hmm.
California. So after my career in high school, ay pinadala namin sila ng highlight tape, ang Lasal and a few other schools. UP was interested. Ateneo was definitely interested. Um,
Yes.
but at the time, we chose LaSalle, because they had a program at the time. Ateneo and the other schools were not as ready yet with
Yeah.
their program, so they were going through a transition period. So that's where I came when I first started in LaSalle. When I landed, I went to LaSalle practice. The rest was history. Here I am
Mm-hmm.
talking to you.
Yeah. Yeah. You mess. You
So
you.
um,
Yeah. Go ahead.
it's basketball has really, um, I was able to use basketball to better my life. Um, it was a vehicle that I used to grab opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, is to help people, which is
Mm-hmm.
what I am all about now, helping people.
Yeah. You mentioned that you studied high school in Burbank, California before moving here to the Philippines for college. I'm just interested on what made you decide to pursue basketball at the collegiate and eventually professional level, because you said you were just playing in the playground, and naman na there are a lot of Americans that like playing in the playground pero yung laro nila hindi pang organized basketball. So what made you intend to pursue the organized basketball side of it?
Um, that's a very good question. I think I knew that I was good. I knew that I
Mhm.
was good for my height. I knew that I was good for the competition that I had, playing against these other people in the playground. But my skills really started developing in high school. That's where I went to another level. And I knew my dad told me about the league, the PBA, you know. And then my junior year in high school, I went down into the Philippines. Uh, I was about 17, I think, or 18 years old. And
Mhm.
I saw a PBA game. And I
Mhm.
told myself, man, I can play in this league. There,
Yeah.
no doubt about it. I can play in this league. So I finished I come back 1995. Sorry, 1996. I finished my senior year in high school. I graduated in June, and then July, a week later after I graduated, well, I threw a big party first before I left with my friends.
Yeah.
So after that, I flew to the Philippines. I started playing basketball. I started going to school.
Mhm.
Um, I just knew that I could play in the Philippines. I was very confident in myself. I was confident because I put in a lot of work, and that's what gave me the confidence. I was a skilled player, but my skills evolved even further once I came to the Philippines.
Mhm.
I really improved a lot, especially my coaches were John Chico, Ron
Yeah.
Jacobs, my first 2 years. And then when Coach Franz Pumaren and Coach Derek Pumaren took
Mhm.
over, Coach Franz, man, he really put me on a different level. He put me above and beyond of what I was capable of doing.
Mhm.
So, man, that was just amazing. What he did. He came in there. He came in there. He was confident. This is this guy, man. I tell you, he comes in his first year, right? And he was just confident, and he knew that we were going to win, but
Mhm.
he gave us a hard time, So, and his, I'm not going to say his arrogance. It was never
Mhm.
arrogance. He was always confident because he knew the formula to success. He made sure that each individual, their strength was highlighted and their
Mhm.
weakness, uh, they hid the weaknesses of the players. So it seemed like we were very, very strong. Um, the defense that we displayed was just was just a turning point in the UAAP, not just for
Mhm.
LaSalle. This was a turning point. This defense that we had was a turning point for collegiate programs for the UAAP. So, the defense that he brought until today, people still emulate the system that Coach France has. And it wasn't until I started coaching I started 2015, I believe,
Yeah.
2016. He took me
Adamson.
as an
Yeah.
assistant coach. My goodness, I saw, I saw the genius in him of how he would break down things. I saw how he was very methodical. You could tell that he knows the UAAP, right?
Mhm.
He's confident with the UAAP. When it comes to
Yeah.
UAAP, that's Coach Fans. He's very confident in that, and he knows how to get the best out of players. So, and he's got the program to get the best out of players. Plus, he's got the accolades. He's got the championships, right?
Mhm.
So, Coach France, what they call is the Pumaren press. That's been a changing defense for the entire UAAP.
Yeah.
Even the coaches now they try to emulate our defense. I see some of these coaches trying to do the Pumaren defense, but there's a lot more to it. There's a lot
Mhm.
more things that these guys don't know. And being under Coach Franz Pumaren, I saw I saw so much of it, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is I didn't even know this."
Mhm.
And we're talking about the little details, right? The little details
Yeah.
on how to read,
Mhm.
anticipation, bluffing, and things like that. So it's amazing to me how like, say for example, you have a sous chef, right? A sous chef is in charge of this department in cooking. So you have about, you got five sous chefs making their own departments, making their own slices and cooking whatever. And then here's Coach Franz putting it all together. So it's crazy um, how he does things. The the genius at work. I saw the
Mm-hmm.
genius at work. So it's amazing. I tell you, it's hard to explain. You'd have to really be there. My first year, I started to better myself as an assistant coach, and then so, sooner than later, he started trusting me, and I was really surprised. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is Coach Franz Pumaren. He's starting to trust me." You know,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not easy to get the trust of Coach France. It really isn't. Um, it takes a lot, and he demands a lot out of you, out of his players, out of his coaching staff, and
Mm-hmm.
by doing that, I was able to grow. So yeah, again, I started doing the videos for the team, and then I started seeing the things that Coach France uh, has been seeing, and the guy is like 2 or 3 steps ahead of all of us.
Yeah.
I'm looking at practice. I'm looking at practice, right? And I'm just observing. I'm observing Coach France, and he sees things that I haven't even seen happen yet, and already he's predicting it already. With the players, he's telling the players this type of play. So basically, he's 2, 3 steps ahead of us. But
Mm-hmm.
after my third year, leading on to my fourth year, um, I started to see the things that he saw. My job was to not make it stressful for him, and
Mm-hmm.
I believe I've done. I believe I did that. Um, Towards the latter part of the yung samahan namin sa Adamson, I was able to contribute a lot to him in terms of scouting the defense, the plays,
Mm-hmm.
analyzing. Uh, so those things were very important for him, and especially the video, because the video that we rely so much on the video and the scouting report, and this is what. So he trusts me. He trusted me enough na hindi niya ako pinakailaman pagdating sa mga videos.
Mm-hmm.
He would tell me what he wanted specifically. I want this. I want you to show this type of play. Show this type
Yeah.
of play. Blah 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 blah. And I added plays of my own that I wanted to show the team. So he gave
Mm-hmm.
me the leeway, and
Yeah.
that gave me confidence. So that gave me confidence that made me want to work more because I did not. I don't want to disappoint Coach France. Honestly, I'm scared of the
Mm-hmm.
guy. Scared of the guy,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
The guy is the nicest dude. He's the nicest dude. But man, he scares the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's scared because basketball is different, man. He's.
Mhm.
I'm trying to be better in the field of coaching. He is the key. Whatever he tells me to do, I'm gonna do it. You know,
Mhm.
he gave me a career in the PBA. He gave me a career in coaching. So
Mhm.
he has opened doors for guys like me. And
Mhm.
when he says something, you do it. You know, no questions asked.
Yeah. From when you mentioned that Coach Franz is scary, I remember 2 incidents when he argued with Stanley Pringle and he didn't back down when he was the coach of Global Port. And there was also a video before when he he argued with someone from the Phil Am of Adamson, but he never got to play in the UAAP. And they said he was a great player, but then he had an attitude problem, so he kicked him out of practice. I'm not sure if you remember that, but
First,
then I think we were
yeah,
there.
yeah, I was there. First of all, he wasn't a great player. He was just
Oh, okay.
he was just an ordinary film who was athletic, but in
Mm-hmm.
by no means he was not a great player. Maybe he had potential,
Mm-hmm.
but Now he's probably doing nothing, probably in the States working a 9 to 5 job.
Mm-hmm.
If he was smart, he would have listened
Yeah.
to Coach Franz. Coach Franz could have developed him. He could have been in the PBA,
Mm-hmm.
So the turn of events for that particular player went south. I mean, for you to be playing in the pros is different from working a 9 to 5 at McDonald's or somewhere like that. You know,
Yeah.
McDonald's or whatever, or uh, department store.
Mm-hmm.
So being an athlete and being paid, to be a professional athlete, it's different. It really is. So I'm sure any regular person, oh, do you want to be a professional athlete, or you'd rather choose a regular job?
Mm-hmm.
9 times out of 10, people are going to be like, yeah, I want to be a professional athlete.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Coach France gives jobs to people. He creates
Mm-hmm.
he creates opportunities for people. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, he can bring out talent, the best out of you. He can bring the talent out of you. Um, he can create a career for you.
Mm-hmm.
All you gotta do is bust your ass for the guy, man. Bust your ass
Yeah.
for the guy, you know, and do what he asks, because it's for your own good, man. It's the thing is also with Coach France. All right, the moral, the moral side of it, it's also amazing. Coach France, what he teaches in basketball, life in general.
Mm-hmm.
Understand what I'm saying? So he's
Yeah.
not there to preach just, okay, you need to stop, you need to play defense, you need to do this, and you need
Yeah.
to do that. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like he teaches you about perseverance. All right, he'll teach you about
Mm-hmm.
discipline. These are two uh, big words for athletes, and perseverance and discipline goes beyond basketball. You understand? So
Mm-hmm.
the the things that you take in from the discipline, the things that you take in from the persevering in practice, in
Mm-hmm.
college. You're dead tired from practice, but you still have to study and things like that. Those things you take with you even after you're done playing basketball. You
For
take those
sure. Yeah.
things and you apply it to life, right? You apply
Mm-hmm.
it to life, and that's true. That's something that I admire Coach France, with the things that he teaches people. So,
Yeah, that's so admirable of him, and I really also like his coaching style and the way he imparts his players. Like for instance, the Adamson program, they weren't really that good in the time of Leo Austria. They weren't like a consistent contender. But then when he was in the coaching reign already of Adamson, you guys haven't won a championship yet. But then when he was the head coach, they were a consistent contender, and they were able to discover guys like Jerry Kahanisi, Sean Maganti, like these players they're like underrated. Not a lot of people talk about them, but when he was in Adamson, they were able to flourish, and now they're both in the PBA already, and they're doing well with their current team. So that's really a testament also to him and how he molds his players, how he grows and finds their potential.
absolutely. And I'm just going to add to what you said. It is a
Yeah.
testament of the
Hmm.
formula that he has for success. He's got
Yeah.
I think he's the coach with the most number of uh, players that played in the PBA
Hmm.
per year.
Hmm.
Per year, huh?
Yeah.
So he's, I think, uh, yeah, the coach that has developed more PBA players. He's one of them for sure. There's a
Hmm.
few coaches out there, and of course you have Norman Black also.
Yeah.
During his reign in the UAAP, there's other notable coaches as well. Coach Eric De Rosario, rest in peace, coach.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
So Hall of Famer, Franz Pumaren. That guy's a Hall of Famer,
Mm-hmm.
and more than anything, the things that he imparts to his players are things that you can use in life, and that's something that you cannot buy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's priceless for
So
sure.
that is priceless. Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned that when he took over the reins in DLSU in 1998, I think 99. Yeah, I think when you guys won the championship, he was already the
98,
coach.
98.
Yeah, 1998. You guys won the championship already in that year, and you said your game elevated to a whole another level when he was the coach. What do you think he saw in
Man,
you for him to actually a lot of time and effort in focusing on you and your growth and development as a player? Because some other players he could give all the time he wants for the player, but then if they're not willing to learn, nothing's gonna happen. But then what do you think he saw in you, then like he molded you into an MVP and a mythical five player even in the PBA level.
well, I think that he saw my athleticism. I
Mm-hmm.
He saw my speed as a big man. He saw my IQ as a basketball player. I wasn't the most skilled player. Like for example, skill. You talk about skill. You see Stanley Pringle. You
Yeah,
see guys like Terrence Romeo. Oh my gosh,
yeah,
these guys are very skilled players, right?
yeah,
Jason Castro. So
yeah,
those are skilled players. I was a very athletic player. Um, I
yes,
had I had I was very good around the basket,
mm-hmm.
uh, but I wasn't as polished,
Okay,
until I was given the confidence and opportunity under Coach Franz Pumaren. So he really focused his his he really focused his offense on me, and
mm-hmm.
Ren, of course.
Yeah,
We had an inside. We go inside first, and then once they double up or triple team me, then of course that opens up Ren a lot,
mm-hmm.
and he would just he would drain baskets all day long. Um,
Yeah,
I think Coach France saw in me my athletic ability, the
mm-hmm.
IQ I had in college, and my willingness to never quit.
Mm-hmm.
So those are some of the things I think that he saw in me.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned also
But
that
just
Coach
just
Frank.
don't ask Coach France because he won't
Yeah,
tell you that.
yeah.
You don't
You
ask
mentioned that
Coach
Coach
France that.
Francis.
What did you see in Don Allado? He's
You
gonna be
mentioned
like,
that Coach
yo, hey,
Francis
what did
practices.
you're gonna ask him this, right? You're gonna ask him like, what did you see in Don Allado? Who? Don Allado? Who's that? Oh, yeah, yeah, my former player. Okay.
Yeah, you mentioned that his practices are very difficult. His system's not easy to learn, but then if you master it, yeah, your success it's gonna be enormous. And that's what happened with you guys. He found it the best way for you to reach your potential, and also Ren and all the other players on your squad. But what do you think is the secret on how he makes them buy in? I mean, not everyone would be willing to actually go through the rigorous or the grueling trainings and games or Pumaren press that he imparts to you guys. So what's the secret in in his ways?
Effort, effort. You don't give up. You just never give up
Mhm.
because our defense has many opportunities. If you miss one opportunity and you give up, we're screwed, right? It's all about effort. It's all about effort. I'm
Mhm.
telling you, that's it. It's just effort and never quitting on a play. Always playing till the end.
Mhm.
It's like, yeah. Have you seen a Jack Russell? You know how makulit a Jack Russell is.
Mhm.
So imagine a Jack Russell, five Jack Russells playing on the court, just nonstop madness,
Yeah.
nonstop movement activity, just chasing after one ball. Imagine that.
Mhm. Yeah.
So yeah, just for your question, it's I think it's just never quitting on a
Mhm.
play. ayaw ni Coach Franz yan. Yung mga quitters. Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mm.
Pag
And,
nagganyan tatanggal ka na.
practice. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, because you can't, if you quit once, you're going to quit on him, right? If you're going
Mhm.
to quit on him, you're going to quit on the team.
Yeah.
So why have somebody like that? I don't want to have a teammate that quits. Ako
Mhm.
nagpapakahirap ako, right? Siya nagpapakahirap siya. Ito din, siya. And then you have one
Mhm.
teammate that will quit. No,
Yeah.
that's not part of our system. That's not part of our DNA. We did not
Mhm.
work this hard. Um, we did not work this hard in practice. Just to lose by somebody who lacked effort. I
Mhm.
can lose, right? I can lose to teams uh, who outplayed us, but
Yeah.
I cannot lose to a team that out hustled us. Uh,
Yeah.
there's a difference. There's a difference there.
For sure. Yeah. That's why one of my favorite players. I mean, I'm a Celtics fan, and the NBA is Marcus Smart. That guy, even if they're down 30 points, he's still diving for the ball, and doing anything to win. That's why I admire him.
Marcus Smart, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned that you were one of the top players of the DLSU teams in 1998 and 99 to win the championship. How about you individually? Even if you had Coach Franz, of course, you and Ren were some of the leaders of the team. So, what kind of leader were you, and what's your style in like galvanizing them in order to continue persevering and trying their best every single game?
I think my leadership, I was not a vocal leader. I think
Mm-hmm.
I think at a young age, even when I got to the pros, I think as a leader, I was very immature. I wasn't mature yet
Okay.
as a leader, even when I got
Mm-hmm.
to the pros. So it wasn't until I was like 26 or 27 when I started to
Mm-hmm.
mature emotionally.
Yeah.
But me being a leader was through my performance, not through
Mm-hmm.
my vocals, right? Our overall leader was Mayor Mayor Francis Zamora. So he was
Mm-hmm.
our team captain. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so he was the guy, man. He was our bruiser. He was our enforcer.
Yeah.
Rebounds, elbows out, plays tough defense,
Yeah.
sets the meanest screens.
Mm-hmm.
Really uh, kept us, kept us bonded. Um, so Mayor Francis wasn't a type where he's like Ren. He's gonna go out there and shoot the 3 points, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not the game of Zam.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Zam did a lot of the things for us that freed up guys like me, guys like
Mm-hmm.
Ren. Those things don't show up in a stat sheet. He
Mm-hmm.
sets a bone crushing pick on one of the defenders,
Yeah.
right? Or neutralizes one of the other big men in the on the opposing team.
Mm-hmm.
Plays him physical.
Yeah.
Plays him nasty. Those types of things, right? Um,
Yeah.
attacking the offensive rebounds. Putbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Posting up, banging on the inside. That's the game. And aside from the game of Mayor Francis, it's again his leadership, and he carried that on. His leadership in our
Until
team
now.
carried onto his political career.
Yeah.
So he was born. He was already born a leader. But for me as a leader, I just led through action. But for
Mm-hmm.
me, being a leader, like a vocal leader,
Yeah.
no, that wasn't me. That wasn't me. I was very childish.
You mentioned also that you were a leader by example, and that was very obvious with the production that you do consistently every game for numerous seasons in the UAP. But I'm pretty sure since you were one of the best players in the league, they were playing physical on you, and the style of play during that time was very different from now. So how would you describe it? Like for instance, when I had Red Ren here, he mentioned like how people would try to pull his jersey, and like now if you try doing that, that's like illegal, and like they're gonna call fouls every time if you go through screens and do all the gulang moves that the Filipinos call it. So how were you able to adjust with the physicality in the UAAP, and especially during your time, they would allow a lot of those.
That physicality in our era, uh, I think was a little bit more than today. Um,
Yeah.
there's a lot more uh, physical action. There's a lot more physicality. No, sorry, not a lot more. There's a little bit more during our
Mm-hmm.
time. We were allowed
Yeah.
to get away with more.
Mm-hmm.
But now kasi it's different. The era is different. The
Mm-hmm.
players are different. The players they're bigger, they're stronger. I'm not here to try to say that our team was the best, in all eras.
Yeah.
That's not me. That's not my campaign. That's not my
Mm-hmm.
campaign. And it's for me to say that it's baseless. Um, and it's unfair to the people that have paved the way before me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that our team was the best during our time,
Yeah.
right? There's a big difference.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
the players now they're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster. In terms of physicality, you know, um, we don't really know.
Yeah.
I maybe ours we tolerated it a little bit more. Maybe the refs allowed it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But the maybe what I'm trying to get at is how the game has evolved, maybe physically
Mm-hmm.
in terms of physicality.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think for the physicality part, maybe it has been numbed,
Mm-hmm.
dialed down just a little bit, just a little bit because UAAP now is so magnified, and you have all these cameras and all these angles that you can watch from. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it was different back in the day, man. I mean, you saw our tapes.
Yeah. You could do anything basically. There's only like one camera or like a few cameras. Now there's like hundreds of angles. They're gonna see you on the replay review.
And it's not, yeah. They're gonna see you in the replay review, so you're gonna get caught for it. But
Yeah.
the players, I'm happy to see that the league has grown so much. I like to think, I feel that guys like me, guys
Mm-hmm.
before me, have paved the way for players of today. Like for example, Kiefer Ravenna, um,
Mm-hmm.
the 30 Ravenna,
Mm-hmm.
Dwight Ramos, with the
Yeah.
age of social media as well. These guys are getting Kobe Paras and
Mm-hmm.
so on and so forth. These guys um, are really benefiting, right, from the maturation of the UAAP. And of course, these guys are good. They're really good.
Yeah,
These
for
guys are
sure.
good, man.
They have so much skills, so many moves. You could barely contain them.
So, with guys like me, I've always been thankful for the guys that have paved the way for me. And I like to think that I've helped pave the way for the future generation of
Hmm.
players. And, these players now, they're earning so much more. And
Yeah.
I'm happy for them. I'm so happy for them, man. And
Hmm.
I'm not going to be that guy where, oh, man, we deserve that. We should have had that. No, that's not me. Uh,
Hmm.
Yeah, that's not me, man. But these guys, I'm super happy for them. I know these kids. I know Kobe since when he was a little kid.
Yeah.
Um, the 30 and Kiefer. I know them since they were in grade school in Ateneo. We were having practice
Mm-hmm.
in the Ateneo gym. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, to see them evolve in the superstars that they are today, really, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised because
Mm-hmm.
I saw them already when they were kids, man. I knew they were gonna be good, man. To be honest, so it doesn't surprise me. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy that somehow the my contribution to basketball has also helped other players, and the contribution of these players of today, like Kobe, the Ravenas, they're gonna help future players also. And then who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe one day, never know, we will hit the NBA.
Yeah, hopefully we're getting close to it. Yeah. And then for
Yeah,
the
dude.
next part of your career, it was already in the PBA and Alaska. You played like 7 years there under Coach Tim Cone. But then before that, did you still have one more
Yeah,
year
five and
in
a half,
LaSalle?
5.5, 6 years. I had
Mm-hmm.
one more year. Yeah, they
Oh,
they
why
wanted me
did
to
you
stay.
not?
I was like, look, man, I
Why
came
not?
here I came here. I used basketball to make money. All right, I used
Mm-hmm.
basketball to build myself. I used basketball to um, open up opportunities for me,
Mm-hmm.
and for me to stay one more year in LaSalle, there's no point. I've gotten all the awards already. I was already mature for the PBA. I did. At the time I faced the decision of, well, what if I stay one more year? Well, what do I have to prove in the UAAP? Uh,
Nothing.
Pretty much nothing. Yeah. You know, Coach Franz, man, he won like two more after I left, or three more.
Yeah. That's still a
Um,
Mike
so
Joseph. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, he had guys who were ready to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for sure, I knew they were gonna win again. There
Mm-hmm.
was just nothing left for me to stay in LaSalle, and I didn't want to risk injury, and I felt that it's time to make some money, and by me being able to secure my future, that was the immediate for me. I came here to the
Mm-hmm.
Philippines to play basketball.
Yeah. And then Alaska, you were one of their best players, and you were one of the best players in the league also for a couple of years when you won one mythical team first team and then one mythical team second team. And Coach Tim
Yeah, yeah,
is on the record, like he said it on previous interviews, that you were one of the players that already mastered the triangle instantly. Like not a lot of his players are able to do that. So your IQ was already at a high level, entering the PBA level at a rookie or as a sophomore. So, how was your experience there, and what would you say is the reason why you were able to flourish on the triangle?
Okay, my first year, I did not flourish in the triangle. I really had a hard time. I had a difficult time. It was um, Coach Tim sat me to the side, and he's like, I know you're struggling, and I'm so happy you're struggling. And I look at him like, what the hell are you talking about, man? I can't even do anything. I'm lost out there. You know, with all the viewers out there, where there is struggle, there is progress. So,
Okay. Yeah.
and Coach Tim told me that, I know you're gonna struggle now, and that's expected. But
Yeah.
after this moment, after this time that you struggle, you're gonna take off.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt I did that. Uh, I was surrounded. I was surrounded by guys, complimentary guys that really, uh, uh, the complimentary guys that did well for the goal of the team. Um,
Yeah.
So a lot of us were there's some Philams on our team. Um, I really learned a lot from the system of the triangle. Still, also one of the for me one of the best systems uh, that I've been under. So I've mastered it, yes, and I still know how to run it till this day. It's quite easy for me. I've mastered it to the
Mhm.
point where it's quite easy for me. Um, I just uh, for about 5.5 years, I was there in Alaska, and then
Mhm.
I asked for a trade. I think this
Mhm.
was 2006, so I asked for a trade and wanted to go venture out to other opportunities. Because I was with Alaska for about 5.5 years, almost 6 years. So, the trade
Yeah.
happens, and I went over to Talking Text, and started traveling. Won like got a chance to travel, see the world, train in different countries. Um, so then bounced around a couple teams and ended up in Pure Foods. Won a championship there.
Yeah, I remember that. I was already following the league at that time. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, you mentioned with your relationship with Coach Tim, and a lot of players say a lot of great things about him, and you were with him for almost 6 years, and you said that he had a conversation with him wherein he told you that it was great that you were struggling and you were you were parang nagulat ka, you were surprised with what he said. But then
Yeah.
for you naman, like in terms of Coach Tim, differing from Coach Franz, how about Coach Tim? What did he do in order for you to also flourish in the triangle, or was it just natural for you to have that IQ in order to, and your style of play fits right into the system already?
Okay. So with Coach Tim, he really developed my perimeter game. He
Okay.
further enhanced my IQ in basketball. Um, so the dynamics of Tim Cone is also different. That's another system. So
Mm-hmm.
within the triangle system, I was able to master it, and upon mastering it, I became successful. I
Mm-hmm.
had a lot, I had a lot of opportunities there um, against other teams. The offense was was the offense was it's an equal opportunity offense,
Mm-hmm.
but if you've mastered the triangle, you know how to position yourself to get the ball more.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
So
like MJ
yeah,
with Phil
so it's like
Jackson.
yeah, so it's like you go to positions where you're able to score. So that's
Mm-hmm.
something that I had in me, and I knew my scoring positions. I knew where my sweet spots were, and I got to those sweet spots. So those type of things, further enhance my IQ, my shooting. I wasn't a deadly shooter in the UAAP as I was in the PBA. So you ask anybody, they're not gonna leave me open. That's for sure.
Yeah,
You ask anybody.
sure shot. Yeah. Your mid range
Um,
shot. I reached that part already on your career where your mid range shot was deadly and it was a sure shot that they couldn't leave you because
yeah,
that
yeah,
I mean bigs weren't known to still shoot it from the outside, but then you were already there. Like you were ahead of the time when RDO and all these big men were shooting from the outside. But then I
yeah.
wanted to
It's
ask you. I'm just curious on your take on it because you mentioned that you had the athleticism in college, but then you further enhanced your IQ with Coach Franz and Coach Tim at a young age. And with the time now, like you mentioned also that the athleticism and the talent of the players are really high. So some can get away with it that it's all talent, it's all athleticism. But then when they reach like a higher stage, like if they play abroad or if they play in the PBA already, they won't last. Like their career will only be like a few years because you need some sort of IQ. Like you know how people are saying Zion in the NBA can't just go to the rim every single time for the rest of his career because it's not gonna work out. Someone's gonna find a way to stop it. But then, what's your take on the mix of having a high IQ and high talent also? Like it can't be just all talent because there are also some players like people say that Kobe Paras is like that, but then now in the B League, if you watch his highlights, like he has moves now where he's very methodical and he still gets the buckets, but then not through only dunks or highlights, but then he has other plays now. So what's your take on that?
Okay, my take on okay, ganito. Um, my take on players who rely on talent, their careers will be short-lived. That's 100%.
Mm-hmm.
That's guaranteed. Okay. Players who rely on their talent alone, their
Mm-hmm.
careers will die an early death. Players
Mm-hmm.
who work, right, who work on their craft, who develop their skills, their careers, those are the careers that will last. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you are a young guy, you're full of energy, you're full of vigor, youth, athleticism. When you get to the pros, guys are bigger, stronger, and faster, and more
Mm-hmm.
athletic. Or sometimes when you get injured, parts of your athleticism chip away. You're not going to be
Mm-hmm.
as bouncy anymore as you were before. You're not going to jump, above the rim normally anymore. So
Mm-hmm.
when those things fade, you have to be able to hone your craft, hone your skills. You got to be able to um, learn the game of getting your shot off. You got to be able to learn the skill um, deceiving the defense, deceiving your opponent. These if you don't have these things and you're just expecting to go to the rim and dunk it like Zion,
Yeah.
it's not gonna be you're not gonna be very successful because
Okay.
much like anything, as a player, you need to evolve, right? You
Mm-hmm.
cannot stay the same. If you stay the same, you're gonna be stagnant.
Mm-hmm.
The league, the other players will catch up. So this is an evolving game. And by saying that, players also need to evolve themselves. They need to learn new crafts. They need to have to be better every day in what they do. Whether how to get their shot off or how to play better defense, anticipating the plays, anticipating the defense, things like that. You really need to evolve. And if you just stay the same, rely on talent, your career will die an early death, and that is a guarantee. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't have skills, you rely on your talent. Sorry to say, you're not going to be very successful. I know guys who are not as talented and has have lasted many more years than the guys who are talented. Why? It's because they have improved themselves. They have improved their skills every year. And for
Mm-hmm.
you to be improving as an athlete, that means you're growing. When you're growing, you're not stagnant, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are evolving. That's my take on players who are um, relying on their talent. It's very dangerous. It's very dangerous. When you're young, you have a big contract. You think sky's the limit. I already made it. This and that. Blah blah blah. I'm successful. I buy this. I buy that. I buy a car. I buy a house. Whatever. But that well is gonna run out. That
Yeah.
well is gonna run out. Next thing you know, you're injured and you can't play because what? You look like you look like Zion.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, Zion, man. I mean,
It's unfortunate
here's
what's
a,
happening to him.
another player, Ben Simmons, super
Oh yeah.
lazy.
Yeah.
He's super lazy. He's gonna be out the
Yeah.
league soon. Nobody
He
wants
hasn't
him
evolved.
because he has not. And
Mm-hmm.
if you don't evolve, you're gonna stay flat. You're gonna stay stagnant. And for Ben Simmons, he needs a reality. He needs
Reality
a
check.
reality check.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sucks, man. I hate that guy.
It's not like I like him also, but then
No,
I
it's
don't know.
because
Not
he's
as much
lazy.
sympathizer.
I don't
Yeah.
like lazy people, man. I hate lazy people. Lazy people. I don't have anything with. I don't want to do anything with them. It's just how. It's just something that I took up all the way from when I was playing in college. Just
Yeah.
lazy. I don't like that. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Mhm. No worries. And you mentioned that evolution and developing your game in order to fit a role and to order, to fit the style of play that continues to evolve. Like if you don't evolve with the players, that's gonna be tough. And for you, you mentioned already the pure food stint. You guys won a championship, but then you weren't the go-to guy anymore. It was James Yap, PJ Simon, and all the other
Yeah.
players. But
Yeah.
then how were you able to adjust in being a role player? Because some superstars, like you were a superstar in LaSalle and a superstar in Alaska, and others have a difficult time adjusting to a role. Like for instance, Carmelo before he didn't want to be a sixth man. He just wanted to be a starter and he was out of the league for like a year. No one wanted to get him. And then he got that reality check he needed. And then now he's flourishing with the Blazers and then the Lakers. But then for you, it seemed
No.
like you were well right away as a role player and you were still a integral piece of a championship team. So how was the adjustment period like? How do you make it successful for you?
Okay. Just because it looks like I adjusted well doesn't mean I had an easy time adjusting. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, but 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 that being said, okay, my main objective was getting paid. I'm a
Yeah.
professional, right? We are after the bonuses, right? So, there's instances in my career where I'm not going to be the go-to guy. I'm not going to play
Mhm.
40 minutes a game and get beat up, you know.
Yeah.
And there came a point in my career, man. It's like, oh, thank God, thank God. I'm not out there for 40. I'm not out there for 40 minutes,
Yeah.
because honestly, that's tough. That's tough. And I was like in
Mhm.
my early 30s. I believe in my early 30s. So I've had a lot of success in my 20s. Um, in my, it'll come at some point in time. You're gonna have different roles, and
Mhm.
being part of the team. If you cannot accept a role, then that's just being selfish. That's not buying into the team, right? So, what do I think that I could still play and get more minutes than what I should have gotten? Yes, absolutely. I thought that I was
Mhm.
still one of the more competitive people out there on a team, in a Pure Foods team. But that's not up to me to decide.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, my objective was to always be ready. I don't agree with the coaches 100% all the time, but we made it work. We still got a championship. Uh, the objective was achieved. We all got paid, and as a professional, that's what you're looking at. You provide
Mhm.
for your family, you get a championship, you try to leave your mark, and what else do I have to prove, right? So I've done a lot of things in my career, and it's not like I'm a scorer. It's not like I'm a bona fide
Yeah.
scorer.
Mhm.
No, I'm not, right? So uh, let- toward, towards the latter part of my career, I became like a guy you can kick out to the outside and catch and shoot it. I'm not gonna
Mhm.
create my own shot. All right, so um, the if you're not able to take a particular role on a team, then that could that that's maybe that's part of the ego of the player. They think that
Mhm.
they're better than that particular role, and you know at the end of the day, talo ang player because the head coach is still in charge.
Mhm.
So you have to evolve yourself somehow. You have to evolve yourself somehow. You have to, you put in the work, um, and you work hard. You be a good teammate. Um, if your team has a chance to win, hey, go along with the flow.
Mhm.
Um, you are given a role as a professional. You got to take it, and if you can do more than that, then show it. Simple as that.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a great mentality that you have, because not all basketball or professional athletes have that. And maybe that's also a main reason why you lasted so many years in the PBA compared to others that fail to adjust to a different role with the evolution of the game, or with the new incoming players from the collegiate ranks, because naunahan sila sa progress and sa growth of their game. But then for you, you were still able to find your niche and find a role in these other squads that you were in. So that's also commendable from the way you were playing in the PBA, despite or in the latter part of your career with, Coach Ryan and Pure Foods and Barako and Meralco and all these other squads that you were part of.
Yeah, man.
For the Yeah, so for the next part, I think a lot of people know about this. Like you when you were in Barako, you had that incident where you got fined $500,000 pesos,
Yeah,
I think, because of
yeah.
the game fixing incident. And some people didn't even have Twitter yet that time, because it wasn't a popular thing, and I'm not sure if I even had an account at the time. And you also mentioned a lot of the stuff that you go through in life, like in college, like, and even in high school when you were in the US, you learned a lot from it. Like, madaming ang kalokohan na nangyari nung bata. So like, one of that was when from through those mistakes you're able to learn from it, and you were able to impart it to others what not to do, and how to learn from the mistake that you did. So what was the story like for you when it happened, and then the realizations also after that you could share, that you could help the audience that are watching now.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you like this, right? When you are frustrated and you are uh, intoxicated, all
Mm-hmm.
right, and you have a big ego, do not pick up your phone and start tweeting. Okay, so yeah, it was yeah. At the time, so we lost. There was money to be made with our bonuses, and
Oh,
I'm a very
okay.
competitive. So I'm a very competitive person, and
Mm-hmm.
I just felt that being on that team and the breaks that we have gotten, it was really obvious that things were really against us for that particular game.
Mm-hmm.
And so through my frustration, I let off some steam. I drank a little bit more than what I was supposed to drink. Then I started picking up my phone and started tweeting.
Mm-hmm.
Little did I know, it was going to be that huge,
Yeah,
right?
that's the thing.
Little did I know it's going to be that huge. I didn't know. I was like, I don't like. I just didn't like how the game ended, and the game fixing situation in the Philippines. I had no basis of that. It was just like me saying hurtful words when you are upset at somebody. Say, for example, you're
Mm-hmm.
mad and you say hurtful words, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's no, what I said didn't have any evidence told. Uh, what
Mm-hmm.
I said did not have any basis towards it. I
Yeah.
did not have any proof that there was game fixing. So it
Mm-hmm.
was me accusing, an organization, or not an organization. Well, yeah, an organization or its employees, um, that it was shady, and it wasn't the right way to do it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It was. I did not have any proof, and it was all done because I was angry. I was angry, and I had an ego.
Yeah.
So that was something that I had to check myself with. It's I learned a lot from that. Um, it's not biting. not biting the hand that feeds you. I have, things like that. It was very unfortunate at the time, but a lot of people also sided on me, which is like, oh my gosh, let's not make this bigger, guys, please. I'm
Yeah.
not trying to make it bigger.
Yeah.
They're looking
I
at me like a
remember. Yeah.
hero. Yeah, expose them, blah blah blah. I'm like, guys, just leave it alone. This is not even. I was just mad, and I said sorry already. I didn't mean what I said. But I
Mm-hmm.
look back at it now, and it's comedy. Actually, it's just comedy.
Mm-hmm.
I've made amends with the PBA and Commissioner Salud.
Yeah, I
um,
remember.
so he did what he had to do, and I got what I got. I got suspended. I got fined, but
Mm-hmm.
I was able to come back. I was able to come back to PBA. So that worked out, and it's something that the PBA is something that I'd like to continue to build later on in the future. Like for example, the PBA players. I'd like to get them once the pandemic
Mm-hmm.
is over to be part of the events in San Juan.
Yeah.
I'm gonna invite those guys. I'm gonna invite PBA games.
Mm-hmm.
Besides, I'm still close to Commissioner Willie and some of the
Well,
coaches
yeah.
there. Maybe we can ask them, hey, if you guys want to do a game here in San Juan, we have
Yeah.
gyms. We have gyms there. That's um. Oh wow, what happened? Well, anyway,
All
um,
good. All
we
good.
have gyms. We have gyms in San Juan that can accommodate the PBA players. So hold on, Alexa, turn on pin one.
Nice.
Damn, that's not it. But yeah, so um, a lot of it at the time was ego, um, and at some point you have to be accountable for your action. And
Mm-hmm.
I held myself accountable for my actions. Um, if I didn't, then I wouldn't be back in the PBA.
Mm-hmm.
After that incident, I was able to come back, play a couple more years, and yeah. So PBA is something that I hold dear to my heart. Um, and they luckily, Commissioner uh, June, Commissioner Salud, he understood me.
Cheeto. Yeah.
I said, yeah, I said, you know, I'm sorry. I didn't mean what I said. I was angry.
Mm-hmm.
I was just very frustrated, and so just don't kick me out of the PBA. It's not what I wanted. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't mean it, and he understood it. I showed remorse, and I did some community outreach programs in
Mm-hmm.
QC, in Isabela, where else? In San Juan. So I
Mm-hmm.
did things while I was away in the PBA. I did some community work, and the PBA
Yeah.
saw that, and it's like, oh, cool, man. All right, no problem. Come on back. Come on back.
Yeah. Yeah. You
So
mentioned that, social media can really be a double-edged sword, because now they bring a lot of benefits to the players, with the pros. Even if you're not playing anymore, I'm pretty sure, as like a coach and as a public servant. And what would you tell like the athletes, like in terms of, a lot of people now criticize them, like even in volleyball, like if you have a service error, or like in basketball, if you have a crucial turnover, there are a lot of people that go to your mentions and say stuff, and sometimes you're tempted to reply to them because you're pissed, like you. But then, it could get into an argument to something you didn't want to talk about. And so, what's your thoughts on, athletes replying and all these social media trolls and everything? During your time, it wasn't that rampant yet, but then now there's a lot of people, especially in basketball and volleyball, that do that here in the Philippines.
okay, for social media, okay, there's a couple. I'll share my sentiments on social media. Back in the day, we did not have any social media. So imagine if I
Yeah.
had social media, right? I'd
Yeah.
have a lot more opportunities. social
Mm-hmm.
media and athletes. Social media gives athletes another channel where they can promote themselves even
Mm-hmm.
further. Let's say, for example, they have a, they're not being used so much in the basketball game, but
Yeah.
they are marketable, right? They
Mm-hmm.
are marketable, what we call marketable. Um,
Mm-hmm.
through their social media, they can influence. Um, I say more minutes or even get the nod of getting more playing time, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible. It's possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is social media can influence another part of your game to
Mm-hmm.
to even to the point where people actually think you're good or
Mm-hmm.
you're better than good, right?
Yeah.
You're good, but social media can make you better.
Yeah.
Right? So you can,
That's for sure.
athletes have that luxury where they can enhance themselves further, right?
Mm-hmm.
Paint a picture. They can paint themselves a picture for the people to see how they really are good. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another clip of Don Allado, shooting uh, at 11 p.m. until 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Uh, wow, he's so dedicated.
Yeah.
Let's give him a bellow contract, and
Yeah.
you know, so
Bell.
just an example, just an example.
Yeah.
Uh, so it's marketing tool for athletes to enhance
Mm-hmm.
themselves.
Yeah.
The other side of that also is my other sentiment is I think they learned from my mistake not to
Mm-hmm.
answer the social media. I think my situation allowed other athletes to be like, okay, hey, let's leave that part alone. What happened already. How social media can really exponentially blow you up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is something that players are aware of, um, and they're very careful with,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, let's say for example, man, athletes, generally,
Yeah.
uh, an account will DM you, right? Starts talking to you provocatively and starts becoming daring, asking you to, do things. Next
Yeah.
thing you know, you expose yourself, and then you're all
Mm-hmm.
over social media, right?
You're viral.
So
Trending.
you go viral, man. That's
Yeah.
those things happen, and you just got
Yeah.
to be careful with it. That's how
Mm-hmm.
dangerous social media is, man. Somebody could be
Mm-hmm.
out there pretending to be somebody just to trick you. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but there's a lot of you get to peek. You get to peek into the live. You're like, you get to see, oh, what's Jago doing today? Where's he going?
Yeah.
You get to peek into the lives of people through their social media, and you
Mm-hmm.
become more public, right, through social media, and you,
Yeah.
you get to paint a picture that you want to be portrayed of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I remembered because you mentioned Ben Simmons a while ago when during his summer workouts he could shoot so many threes, but then when it's the games already, he can't make anything or he won't even attempt anything. So that's an
I
example that I remembered.
Ben Simmons is terrible, man. That guy should. I think he should go back to the Australian League, or he should go to the
NBL.
China League, NBL. Yeah,
Yeah.
his game is not for the NBA, man. Um, in my opinion, just in my opinion.
Yeah, I hear my other friends don't like him as well. I mean, he was rumored to go to the Celtics, and I was iffy about it.
Okay, so check this out, man. Lonzo Ball, look at him. Look at how he started his jump shot. Look at
Yeah,
it
it was
now.
terrible before.
Look at his jump shot now. That's
That's a
effort.
yeah.
That is called developing your skills, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see that's my prime example of you evolving. Ben Simmons
Mm-hmm.
did not evolve. He's going to be out the
Yeah, he's the
picture
same
soon,
player.
right?
Yeah.
So, uh, yeah. So there.
Yeah. So as we wind down to the final moment of the interview, these are some questions that I ask my guests as well. And for the first one, it's yeah, you watch the NBA, and 2 years ago when the NBA bubble, a lot of players were vocal with the Black Lives Matter and the George Floyd killing and the social issues in the US. But then here in the Philippines, I'm pretty sure you know that the athletes aren't as vocal or as active in social media or in media and imparting their thoughts or promoting what they believe in and everything and social and political issues. So what's your thoughts on athletes being more vocal or being more active in regards to educating or imparting to their followers, since you guys have the most followers on social media along with the mga artista here in the Philippines? So what's your thoughts on athletes and social and political issues mixing up and helping each other up?
Okay. Wow, that's a great question, man. And it, wow. There's a lot of there's a few things because you got to be as an athlete. All right. It's hard to pick a side while
Yeah.
you're still an athlete, right? Because there's
Mm-hmm.
like endorsements, there's this, there's that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you're endorsing such and such party. Okay, well
Mm-hmm.
then you might get crucified for that, right? So
Yeah.
you just got to be careful. You have to, as an athlete, you have the power, or you have, of course, an opportunity to influence a lot of people. You have to be very careful. You have to choose wisely without having to implicate yourself uh, further in your judgment of, like, say, for example, choosing a side. Right, you have to be
Yeah.
very careful because there's a thin line there, especially in our country. If you're yellow, if you're red, right, there's a thin
Yeah.
line between there. If you're admin,
Yeah.
um, oh, you support the killings, extrajudicial
Mm-hmm.
killings, and whatnot, whatever the case
Yeah.
may be. If you have a voice, right, use it in a positive way. If you are going to be using it to um, ride on a political wave, it it could later on backfire, or it
Mm-hmm.
could work out for you. I mean,
Yeah.
there's just two options for you. Be careful on how you present yourself on social media and who you attach yourself with.
Mm-hmm.
As athletes, number one is you have to take care of your career. Number two is uh, how you influence people is very important.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like you want to create a divider amongst people. No, that's different. Guys like Enos Cantor, for example, you
Mm-hmm.
know, uh, I met the guy here in the Philippines. We had lunch
Oh.
together. So yeah, but him and I had lunch over here in Green Hills in Annapolis, and we talked about a couple of things. But I already knew that he was in the path of um, you know, political motives and things like that. At the time, he was already having problems with the Turkish president because he
Yeah.
was he was politically active against the government, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you take Enos Cantor, and he doesn't have political asylum. He doesn't have a home. He can't go back to Turkey. His family
Mm-hmm.
is there, and his family's having a hard time there and being persecuted by the government. So going back here to the Philippines, it's same situation. You just have to be very careful on who you attach yourself, on who you endorse yourself. Maybe if you can, as an athlete, you can try to avoid that. You can still be with somebody, be affiliated with somebody, but um, just uh, just be careful on how you project it to other people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, man, whatever we do, whatever you do, whatever I do,
Mm-hmm.
there's people always gonna say and disagree with us, whether it's good or
You're
bad.
gonna get judged.
I can't please, dude. I can't please you all the time. You can't please
Yeah.
me, and such and such.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, number one, athletes, take care of your careers. Number two, if you're going to be very vocal about a certain situation, make sure you're committed to it, and make sure that you are organized in supporting that particular party. So just be careful, man. Because athletes and these other people, they influence a lot of people, man, through their social media. They have a voice. If you're going to use it
Mm-hmm.
in a positive way, by all means do it. By all means do it. But if it's for self gain, and a lot of people will be miserable, let's be
Nah.
responsible. We all have a moral obligation, you know, even through social media. Excuse me.
Yeah, that's great advice that you gave. I mean, in the US, like Colin Kaepernick, like he sacrificed a lot, and here in the Philippines, we might not be willing to sacrifice what he sacrificed, or even LeBron, he might have lost some endorsements by being socially active, but then he's LeBron, and he could lose a few endorsements if he still has Nike and his Liverpool ownership. He's fine with all the other stuff if they don't want to get him because of his stance on certain issues. But then here in the Philippines, we're not willing, or we can't, if we already have certain accolades or certain endorsements. It's really tough to let go of it just to have a stand. So I get your point there that they need to be more careful as well, and maybe to become more educated also and knowledgeable, so they know what they're portraying to their followers. Because if they say something, yeah, as you mentioned, if they're not careful and their followers believe something else, then it might go haywire, and it might get worse actually. So I agree
Yeah,
with your point there. Yeah. So
yeah, man.
for the next question, this is just simple. If you had an opportunity to have dinner with five people, dead or alive, who would you choose?
Wow, wow. Um, Okay, so John F. Kennedy. Um, yeah, John F. Kennedy. Um, Kobe Bryant. Okay, Michael Jordan. Um, that's tough. That is tough. Phil Jackson. Yeah, Phil Jackson. Where? So where am I at?
One more.
Four?
Yeah.
Dead or alive? Huh?
Yeah.
Napoleon.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. That's a great list
The guy with
that you put out there.
Napoleon, man. I want to have dinner with that guy. That's where the Napoleon complex came from, man. I want to know what that
Yeah,
guy
for
was
sure.
about.
Yeah. So for the final question, it's also pretty simple. And you know what? That I messaged you also through social media in order to invite you here to my podcast. And for you, who would you suggest to join me here on my podcast? Like from your team, I've had like Ren Ritwalo, I think, from the old LaSalle teams. But then who would you suggest that I could invite here?
A last light, a last light.
I cover any sport or any person from any sport, so you can suggest any.
Hmm. Oh, pero last light then.
Hindi naman kailangan. Any school.
Hmm.
I've had a lot of Ateneans here also, like Dwight Ramos, Danny Ravena, um, Isaac Go. Yeah, a lot
Oh,
of good
he's one
players.
of my Isaac Go is one of my favorite players. Alam mo ba yun?
I did not know that. High
Yeah,
IQ player. He said a lot of
I
great
love
things
it.
when he was here.
I love his game. Like really, wow. You're
Hmm.
amazing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So probably, um, let's go with Ollie Peak, man.
Oh yeah, I've had him.
Interesting. The guy's.
We talked, but then not about
Oh,
his career
really?
yet. We talked about PBA finals preview, but then I haven't. I plan to invite him again because he had something. So it was a short episode,
Mike Cortez.
and we previewed TNT Magnolia.
Mike Cortez, dude.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm a follow up on my invite. I think I messaged him before, but then he wasn't able to. I wasn't able to follow up on it. I should ask him
Okay.
again. He's in the States right now.
Yeah, yeah. He's in Vegas, man.
Okay, I'm a follow up on my invitation. I'll tell him I had you on my podcast so that he'd be more comfortable to join. Also,
Sure.
yeah. So thank you so much again, Don, for joining me here on my podcast. It was a very long episode, and we tackled a lot of topics, and you shared a lot of great things, a lot of Coach Franz stories, a lot of learnings from your incident with Barakabul before, and also your coaching tenure with Adamson. And that's something that I really like, that you moved on to coaching, because not all the players could be successful coaches as well, because it's different already. You need to teach players. Not everyone has the patience and the perseverance to actually teach the young kids. So that's really great that you now, and also you're going to be a public servant if you win in this 2022 election. So I'd wish you luck in that. And thank you for joining me here on the podcast again. And do you have any final words?
No, thank you for having me on your show. I really appreciate it, and able to share my story, impart my
Mm-hmm.
story to other people, give advice, and also, um, it's good that I'm able to, or you're able to give athletes avenues, channels to express
Mm-hmm.
themselves, such as now what I did. So we appreciate you what you did, and I support your podcast very much.
Yeah. So before you go, is it okay if we take a picture?
Of course.
Yeah, I'll take it from here. Okay. One, two, three. Okay. Thank you so much, Don, again for joining me here in my podcast, and stay safe out there.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you.